Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome to the PanGeekery Podcast, a live weekly video podcast covering all things geek from an all-diverse perspective. So we're going to be talking about all things geek, TV, film, video games, everything you can think of, covering all the nooks and crannies of fandom.
Everything you can think of.
Everything you can think of.
Everything you can think of.
We're going to find what accent I lapsed into later.
Every time, Earl. Every time.
I know. It's never gonna be right.
Something.
Let's say thanks to these guys.
Yeah. What's up?
Oh,
yeah. I just want to say
just our sponsor.
thanks to Jimmy John's for sponsoring us. We got a new slogan: "Where fresh and fast meet."
Wow.
I'm all about that gargantuan unwitch, yo. I followed Walt's,
delish.
lead.
Nice.
Cool.
Well, that was Earl, and I'm Jen.
And I'm Kaitlyn.
And I am Walter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of things to talk about this week on the podcast. Lots of news from the geek universe. We went to WonderCon on Friday.
Yeah.
So we're gonna
What?
WonderCon.
I don't want to say it. He said wander.
Oh, dear God.
Earl.
We're already
It's
derailing.
gonna be one of those days.
Someone
We-
get him a dictionary.
We went to WonderCon on Friday. So we're gonna talk a little bit about that. We're gonna talk about some gaming and more Game of Thrones.
I like to do everything.
So, what did you all do this week since last episode,
Not it.
Walter?
It was a pretty busy week, actually. And just this weekend, aside from WonderCon, we did a table read for this short film that I'm growing this Fu Manchu for.
Really?
Yeah. And
Nice.
fight choreography.
Oh,
so
nice.
it's cool.
Fight choreo.
Yeah,
Nice.
there's going to be some 6 fight scenes in it. So we're trying to cram it all in. And
Dude, that's hella.
hella.
Not even hella.
Yeah.
Hella what, bro?
Just hella.
Yeah, just hella.
Trying to incorporate some stick and knife fighting in there, too. And
Very
so it's going to be
cool.
sweet.
Yeah.
Try to beat Jason Bourne out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You gotta take
Keyword trying.
Trying. You got to see.
It. Hey,
Nice.
who's it now? It's Jeremy Renner. Is he?
Yeah, he's
Really?
in the, well,
He's
he's
the
not.
next-
He's not Jason Bourne, but he's in the Bourne universe.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
He's born into the born.
He's one of
Yeah.
the
Yes.
legacies.
nice.
Take him on.
Well, I got booked for a commercial. Finally. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thanks. I'd been with my agent for over 3 years, and this is the first commercial she's booked me. So I was beginning to actually. I had
Called
already.
her out like that.
Yeah, no, that sounds really spoiled and entitled.
The onus is on the agent.
No,
Who's your agent? I'm
what I
just
mean is,
not-
I booked myself commercials, but she. Okay, it's not her fault.
Better hope
I'm
your
just
agent's
not
not
bookable.
watching
Okay,
this.
I'm just
Yeah.
not bookable. I had already resigned myself. It's okay. I'm just not gonna get a commercial. It's fine. But I finally got this one, and today I just got processed for my new job.
Oh,
Nice.
So, yeah, so
Congratulations.
I am going to be a substitute teacher for LAUSD.
Oh, cool.
Look out, children. I'm coming for you. But that was weird. I just winked at the camera.
Yeah,
I
that's
shouldn't have done
creepy.
that.
She's coming to educate you.
I'm coming to teach you.
She's like
Normal,
from the right.
boring classroom
passing
things.
out flyers, PanGeekery. He's like, hey, listen to
Oh
her.
my God. Just bring your business
I already
cards.
own my films.
Yeah.
We need a child extra. Will you be in it?
There's no
I love
pay,
that.
but there's copy and credit
Copy credit and
And
meal.
food, yeah.
and food, maybe pizza.
You'll love the craft
Yeah.
services.
No, we got
I'll pay you in
cheese.
sporks.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, so I don't think I'm allowed to talk about my recent casting, but I'll just say I got cast in something that I can't really talk about.
Yay.
It's really cool.
But it's really cool. And it's going to be immersive, so that's fine, fine and fun. It's fun more than fine, actually. But yeah, I really love immersive theater, so that's gonna be cool.
So if you just got casted
Yeah.
for immersive
Yeah,
theater.
Nice.
yeah. We'll say it at that.
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Well,
It's
this
not.
week, I don't know what I did. We went to WonderCon. I said that already. But also, I started watching Twin Peaks. So,
nice.
I've never seen it before.
David Lynch?
Yeah, the old one.
Oh, the old one.
Is
The
there
old
is there
one,
any
yeah.
other than David Lynch?
I don't think
Like
so.
Twin Peach? Oh, which
Twin
which
Peach? Twin Peach. I think
my
that's
God.
something
Sounds
else.
like a
Twin
porn
Peach?
name.
Yeah, exactly.
Twin Peach?
Twin
Twin
Peach.
Peach.
I was trying to make fun of Kaitlyn and it completely just derailed.
That's what happens when you try to make fun of me.
You know what? My points have landed before, but the point being, there is no other Twin Peaks other than David Lynch.
Isn't
He
there like
is-
a tea? There's like a tea called Twin Peaks.
I don't know.
Or is
It's
that
a
Golden Peak?
location.
There might be.
Oh
I haven't
my
been, I've
God.
been doing the
Sorry.
thing.
Because Earl would be saying that he's watching the tea
Sorry.
Yeah.
instead of the show.
I'm sorry.
No,
Anyway,
I have no idea. Well, I am watching Twin Peaks.
How is that?
But also
Peach?
Twin Peach, and I want to make Twin Peach now. And
Yeah, you do.
I'm just prepping for my improv show on Friday. So
Cool.
yeah, we're gonna do
When are you
that.
going to invite us, Earl?
Right now. Hey, you want to come to my improv show?
no.
All right, it's all right.
Where is it?
I'm used
Friday
to hearing
night?
that.
Where?
Friday night, North Hollywood.
What's the group?
Room to Improv is our group,
okay.
and it's an all Asian American group. We do
nice.
short form improv every first Friday of the month at the Secret Rose Theater in North Hollywood.
Is it free?
No, it is not because we have to pay for the theater. So
Oh, okay.
Much?
it's $10.
Oh, that's not bad.
No.
Are we whispering? I don't know. ASMR.
ASMR. So first of all, what I said we did on Friday, we went to WonderCon, and Walter picked up these. Not Walter. Rodney
Rodney.
picked up these cool Funko Pops. We'll tell you what they're about later on. Kaitlyn, though, you have a breakdown for WonderCon.
Sort of.
Kind
yeah,
of,
I'm just
a little
going to
bit.
do it on the fly right now. So, as Earl just mentioned, we all did go to WonderCon in Anaheim last Friday. Two of us did some cosplaying.
The two people that matter. in
Yes,
this.
the lady to my right, Jen, dressed up as Ciri from The Witcher 3. And I dressed up as a generic Japanese schoolgirl in a uniform the size of extra, extra, extra large because I'm a dumbass and didn't specify my measurements on Amazon.com. So yeah, what we ended up doing was we interviewed a plethora of different cosplayers, right?
Yep.
Jen, do you want to say what questions we asked them?
Yeah, we focused primarily on two things. One, we asked if they were Game of Thrones fans, and if they were, we asked them who do they think will sit on the Iron Throne at the very end of the series. And the second question is, if they're a Marvel moviegoer, we asked them essentially what the premise of our super fight was the last time that I staged the game for you guys, which is in a fight between a Flurkin from Captain Marvel, the cat with the tentacles, between a Flurkin and Thor, who would win, and between Thor and Thanos, who would win, and between Thanos and Captain Marvel, who would win.
Oh,
So
that's
we
right.
asked
Yeah, we
those.
did ask about Captain Marvel.
That's right.
Yeah. So I news for some of you. I actually just saw the Avengers: Infinity War the other
Right.
day. So I think Thor did go against Thanos. Didn't he get his ass kicked?
In the very beginning, yeah.
Yeah.
So the idea was that Thor charged up his hammer with.
Oh, that with like
Yeah, yeah.
from the nearby star.
Well,
he
Right.
with
reached
the help
more
of
godlike
Tyrion.
stat- yeah.
Right.
Well,
Tyrion Lannister, larger than he's ever been.
well, no, because Thor went in Infinity War. Thor did not have his hammer because if you saw Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah. Oh no,
know.
I did not. But
He
I saw
lost-
that he did not
so
have his, he did
he
not
did
have
not
his hammer.
have.
Yeah.
Shoot, I was gonna say what the. I can't say.
Say what?
What? Why?
His the name is Mjolnir.
Mjolnir?
Mjolnir.
Mjolnir.
Mjolnir?
Mjolnir.
Or Nyum Nyum.
Yum, yum.
Yum yum.
Mjolnir.
Yeah.
So back to WonderCon. What was your guys' experience about WonderCon? Did you guys have fun? Were you tired as heck? Walter.
Actually, I was just thinking about that. It was great. I had a great experience. It was fun. I think just the ride to WonderCon was
an adventure.
was an
dude.
adventure in
Oh
itself.
my god!
I got lost in Walter's neighborhood for like
Can we-
30 minutes.
somewhat talk about this. Can I?
I mean,
A little bit. Yeah, we have some time.
So first,
I mean, to me, that was like
Priorities.
it was almost like a RPG quest.
Oh, absolutely.
it's dangerous to go alone.
Actually, our,
fitting.
our listeners need to know about how hard it was for us to get to WonderCon.
Okay,
Right.
tell them.
First off, we started out. Our plan was to leave at 8 a.m. I was carpooling and driving all of y'all. So I went to pick up Earl, and I knocked on Earl's door. 2 different guys answered the door, but not Earl.
Yeah.
The second guy finally told me that Earl had just woken up and that he was in the bathroom now.
Plot twist: Earl is a male prostitute.
Tricking
I
all night.
believe the term is gigolo.
So at this moment, we were already 30 minutes late. So we finally got Earl, and then we drove over to Walter's house where Kaitlyn was supposed to be at Walter's already.
Well,
and,
yeah, she was.
Which
She
she
was.
was. And we were trying to find parking for Kaitlyn's car since Walter's Street has like particulars to
Like
it.
one side has
Street
street
cleaning.
cleaning.
Yeah. So
Unfortunately.
the
She happens to park
moment
on that
that
side.
we wanted to guide Kaitlyn to a parking spot, she sped off, not knowing where exactly parking was in the neighborhood, even though Walter's administrator in his building had
Well,
said
my
that.
building manager was like, I got a spot for her if she needs a spot.
Right, but she was
Kaitlyn
gone.
just took off
I
so
mean,
quick.
hint, hint. There was no parking,
Right.
so I got
Well, yeah.
hella lost.
But I
So
tried
then-
to call her.
We came back down to my car and we tried calling her, and we heard the ringing inside of my car.
Yeah. Also, I am notoriously horrible at directions and get lost very, very, very easily.
Her spatial reasoning is not on point.
It's
Let's just say that.
more like non-existent. And the thing I always have trouble with is finding where I parked.
Right. So we lapped around the block once to try to see if we could catch her on the street, but she was nowhere to be found.
Looking for a
and then,
girl with in a Japanese school uniform. with
Right,
pink hair.
exactly. Probably crying her eyes out.
Yeah, it was freaking out.
So we decided to park, and then Earl was keeping stakeout. I was staying in the car, and Walter said he was going to go in his car to loop around. And so when we finally see this Kaitlyn completely out of breath running towards us going, I'm sorry.
So I'm standing outside the car, just like keeping lookout. I see somebody like walking very fast down the street, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, her hair's pink. That must be Kaitlyn." So I waved, and then she goes and starts bolting towards the car, and I'm like, "No, it was like
Yeah.
a movie."
So
It was a momentous moment.
stressful.
Anyway.
But yeah, back to WonderCon. we went to a few panels, didn't we?
Yeah.
That's right.
Earl, do you want to tell us about the panels that we totally did not sleep through?
Oh, we totally did not sleep
Look,
through the.
I did not sleep through them. I saw the rest of you sleep through
I
them.
was
True
tired.
facts. True facts.
Wait, isn't that redundant?
No.
As opposed to fake facts?
True facts.
So we sat through the end of the Dark Phoenix panel, through all of the Tolkien panel about the Tolkien
Wait, but
biopic.
say who was there at the Dark Phoenix panel.
Oh, at the Dark Phoenix panel, there was Sophie
Turner.
Nick Holt,
Zoe Kravitz.
Zoe Kravitz,
My girlfriend.
Yeah, so everybody's excited, and I fell asleep. And then we saw the Tolkien panel, and then we went to a Science of Game of Thrones panel,
Which was
awesome.
amazing.
Yeah.
which I was awake through.
That was the
entire time.
best thing
Same.
I've ever seen, and
Same.
probably the best
Nerdy
panel
as
I've ever
fuck.
been
That
to.
was nerdy as AF.
Nerdy AF.
It was so good,
Super
though.
awesome, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, basically, the science behind Game of Thrones panel was about the different supernatural or maybe like mythological elements of the Game of Thrones universe and how scientists in our
How
world
plausible
would,
it is.
would like see how plausible that was, or if that could be applied to real life, or if properties from our world could be used to translate or like understand some of these phenomena, right? So, like, stuff that they brought up was like, what did they bring up?
Valerian
Like
steel.
dragons. How
Yeah.
could dragons emit fire from their
Right.
mouths? And that
In
was
that volume.
Just farted.
well, they were
Right.
talking about some specific fire beetle that actually I think like releases methane through its ass, and
Right.
then I don't exactly remember all the science behind
I
it.
remember it. So like
Okay.
basically that beetle mixes like two components in the butt and basically shoots out something that is able to boil while it's inside of the ass.
Right.
Which is why who is the guy's name?
Alan Pan,
Alan Pan, who has a YouTube channel called
Sufficiently Advanced.
Right. So he geeks out over this kind of stuff, and he was a very impassioned Asian Pacific Islander, the same as us. So we found a lot of camaraderie with him while listening to
and
him.
we're totally gonna get him on the show.
We're gonna get him on the show. I swear to God.
Hey,
If
Alan,
you're
what's
watching
happening?
this, Alan, it's happening. We're
I'ma
coming
slide
for
into
you.
your
Right here, come
DMs.
for you.
Yeah. But basically, he said that it was more plausible for a dragon to potentially shoot flames or fire some kind of flammable material out of its ass, having digested it, rather than through the mouth.
So a buttload of fire.
So buttload of fire,
Literally.
basically.
A buttload.
Other things, other things that were mentioned were
Well, there's the Oh my gosh, I just watched Blackwater last night. The Green Fire.
Oh,
Wildfire. Which is actually Greek fire, right?
It's
Similar
based
to
off
Greek
of-
It's
fire.
similar. It's similar.
Inspired by.
It's inspired
Right.
by Greek fire. It's also, there's the napalm thing. I think in order to make it green in real life, you would just have to mix it with
He was like copper or borax.
boron.
boron.
That's
what he said.
Yeah, because when you mix it, that turns green.
So like he was saying, so like Greek fire is essentially fire that can move across water, right? And then land on ships and then explode on
It's like
impact.
oil-based, I think.
Right,
Yes.
exactly. So then that was like the inspiration behind it. But then they were also talking about like what kind of explosions explode on impact. How do you make the color green? And boric acid, if you
Right.
mix borax and what he said was like some form of alcohol. I think it was rubbing isopropyl alcohol
Yeah.
and boric acid. Don't try this at home, he said,
Or do.
causes a green explosion.
Yes.
Yummy.
I actually asked a question of the panel: what could possibly account for the incredibly erratic climate changes in Westeros?
Like seasonal changes. you
Seasonal
mean?
changes, yeah. Basically, the fact that summer and winter are unpredictable and last for very long periods of time. And they said that it could have been caused by a volcanic eruption, much like the one that apparently happened in Valyria. I read a theory online that was way more satisfying. And it goes beyond the whole idea that the planet Westeros
Yeah.
is on some
Orbits.
kind of elliptical orbit.
That's
Right.
what I was going to
No,
go
no, no,
for.
because apparently even if you do that, you will still reliably be able to predict when the
Right.
seasons are and how long they are.
Right.
This theory, I know, like I don't have much time, but I want to put this one in. The most plausible theory
Right.
for the reason why winter and summer are so unpredictable in Westeros is if Planetos, we're going to call it.
Yeah, Planetos.
Planetos is orbiting around 2 or 3 other planets
Oh, okay.
within its orbit, because if that's the case and they're all spinning around like this,
So it has
Like
a sister
electronic
planet.
or
Oh,
Right.
so
something.
like the
There's-
gravity
yeah.
that the other planets are
There's-
creating, it's
there's
causing.
Because
no
it does
way.
this.
There's no way you could
To
absolutely
predict.
predict when
Right.
the
Got
seasons
it.
would be coming.
It's
And
kind
when
of
I read
like
that, I was like,
yeah.
I have an idea,
I like
wild
that.
idea.
What?
I don't know. What if like Planetos is an asteroid, and we're just moving through a solar system with various stars? This probably makes no sense.
They would just
know,
freeze.
but
There would be no life.
Yeah,
there would be
there
no
would be-
life
how
in
could life
there
sustain itself if
because
it's
there
consistently
would be
moving?
freeze.
So there's no atmosphere. Okay,
there's no
got it.
atmosphere.
No, but still, I mean-
fine.
But, I mean-
fine.
Cool
idea though.
I thought it was like a drive-by warm-up. You know what I mean?
There's so many. We
I'm
could go
thinking
into it, but
about
there's so
like
many.
the
Yeah.
the physical possibilities of it. I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to do math.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah,
not
do
good
some
at
math.
that.
Let's break
Some
bad.
math.
Let's do some math.
Anyways,
Don't do drugs, kids.
so that's the Wonder conversation.
So that's what we took away from WonderCon. Not that it was cool or the comics were awesome. Game of Thrones.
Oh
No,
but
it was
honestly,
cool.
I love going to cons because
same
I
here.
love being amongst nerds, and there's this like really palpable sense of joy. Like when you're just seeing people like walk around together, and one of the best parts is always like running into characters that you recognize, and you feel special because you recognize them, and then you feel special because they recognize you.
Yeah,
you know?
it was impressive too, like how many people responded to your series and
Right.
Yeah. At Anime Expo, everyone was just slobbering over Jen.
Oh my god.
Everybody on their mama was like, Siri?
Just-
And she was like posing with everybody. Yeah.
totally honeypot.
Yeah.
Total honeypot.
Honey Dickin. We're like,
Well, I mean, Jen had to move. Like, yeah, sure, I'll post for a picture. By the way, we have a podcast.
yeah.
I totally slid
Awesome.
into their
Jen
DMs.
was handing out cards like
You
candy,
were-
motherfucking candy.
You
Yeah.
were
If you took one look at her, she's like, have a card.
No, it's true. They're
smooth,
like, oh,
man.
I like your
Smooth,
Siri
yeah.
costume. I'm like, oh, great. We're actually part of a podcast called PanGeekery.
Speaking of things used to entice people into other things, we have a whole bunch of trailers that came out. First of all, the Twilight Zone trailer came out. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
So y'all remember the Twilight Zone, right?
nope.
No.
I'm
We were
too
alive in the 50s and all that.
young. Well,
yeah, I
I was.
remember now.
There's
Walter
something on
was.
the
I was a teenager at the time.
Gotcha. Well, so there's going to be kind of a reboot of the Twilight Zone, and the executive producer and host is going to be none other than director of Us and Get Out, Jordan Peele.
What?
Man of the Hour, yeah.
Yes.
So this thing is
about it.
happening. The series, I think, debuted yesterday on CBS All Access. That was the premiere. So what they're going to do is they're going to have two new episodes released every week. No. I'm sorry. They debuted with 2 episodes, And then following the premiere, new episodes will come out on the series every Thursday for subscribers of CBS Access beginning April 11th. And so I got to take a look at the trailer. I don't know if you guys were able
No,
to.
I was.
Well, I
did.
took a look at the trailer, and there's hella celebrities in that trailer. I want to mention just a few of them because they are, surprise, surprise, Asian. There's Stephen Yoon,
Nice.
Yay!
John Cho,
Yes.
Kumail Nanjiani
Nice.
from Silicon Valley.
Show nice.
And then there's some other people I recognize, like Tracy Morgan,
Cool.
Trevor from The Good Place, and Greg Kinnear. So,
Oh.
and a lot more than the ones I just mentioned.
It's a
So,
star-studded show.
yeah, and it's
Yeah.
being hosted by none other than Jordan Peele.
Yeah.
So you
He
guys gonna
totally
watch
deserves
it?
this.
The trailer looks great, and yeah, I'll give it a shot. Yeah, it was. What I did notice was, like you said, the diversity in casting. I thought that
Yeah.
was great,
course.
and hopefully it does well because, and hopefully the stories they tell, aside from being like the traditional weird stories of
Right.
Twilight Zone, hopefully there is some sort of like lesson to be learned, and like, but just the people of color story or
Right.
You're like a
women's
different
story,
take on
yeah,
it.
Like
Yeah.
an Aesop's fable, but
yeah.
You know, I
But with
really.
black people.
Oh my God, this could get very dark very quickly.
Whoa.
Whoa!
Luke
So
was
there was
racist.
new
No
X-Men
pun
comic
intended,
book.
I
Pun
hope.
intended.
So Rob Liefeld and Will Pertasio have a new X-Men
Moving on.
comic book
Moving on.
coming out. Walter has something cool to say about it. I'm sure that was absolutely unintentional.
Yeah, and that was actually I was sad to miss Will Pertasio and
Con,
actually
right.
Rob at Con because I wanted to like meet them and talk to them. And
Why didn't we see them?
well, by the time we found their booth, I think they were
They bounced.
wrapped up.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, Wilsh was. We passed by a couple times and he wasn't there.
yeah.
And then, I don't remember seeing. You and me must.
I saw his
We walked
booth.
by Rob.
I saw Rob's booth,
Yeah.
but it was just it wasn't him.
I saw Rob's boobs.
Booth.
Okay.
But he wasn't there. It was his staff, I think, that was there. But
Right.
yeah. Well, Rob Liefeld is the creator of Deadpool, or co-creator,
Yeah.
co-creator, right?
Yeah.
And he's famous for his proportions in comic book drawing and
Wait,
art.
what does that
Man,
mean?
gonna
Oh,
be
like
putting this
Like
guy
how
on
he
blast.
designed things.
Yeah.
It's like
Oh,
he's
okay.
man, but he knows
yeah.
this.
I know. Here's a whole thing.
Since he
'cause-
started, yeah. And Will Pertasio, he's the creator of Bishop, and he's like a legendary artist with Marvel, and what he did Image too
Yeah,
eventually, right?
Wetworks.
Yeah, Wetworks.
that was him.
So Will's is, and he's also a friend of the
A friend of the podcast.
friend of the podcast, friend of Rodney, and he's a great guy. And we had him on our panel a few years ago when I was with Phil Am Creative. So, and yeah. So, anyways, going back. So, Will Pertasio and Rob Liefeld created this new character, Master X, right? And from my understanding of it is that the characters
Major X?
sorry, Master X.
Master X.
Master.
Okay.
That's from that.
Master of puppets.
I just,
pulling the
anyways, that's a
strings.
tangent. There is a character. Anyways,
Oh.
Major X.
And his story, what they've put out so far is that Major X is a character from another universe where being a mutant is kosher. It's good. Everyone's happy, but something happens which brings him over to our universe, 616 or
Oh.
616.
616.
So it's kind of like Wonder Woman, where like you move from a place of empowerment to a place of oppression.
Yeah, so and then that's where adventure ensues. And I just want to like real quick comment on it's weird because like when I saw the image of Major X,
Right.
I don't know why, but the costume reminds me of something and I can't put my finger on it.
It looked pretty Deadpool-y, kind of.
Well, it's not, but I think it's the X on the screen or the helmet. I don't know why, but it reminds me of something like a Japanese, like an anime or some sort, like Power Ranger-ish.
Like a
There's a
sense,
Power Ranger
'cause-
that has. I forgot which one he is.
There was like the X on the thing. That's what, I don't know. That's just,
Big
for me,
one,
just,
maybe.
Right.
yeah,
remember.
it
Helicopter
seems similar,
helipad.
familiar,
Yeah.
yeah. But it'll probably come to me later.
Yeah, it's like it's right on the right here.
Yeah.
I can't pull
Where?
it from my
Where?
prefrontal
Where?
cortex.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Between his eyes.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think I'll probably give it a shot and take a look at it and maybe read a couple of issues. But I don't know
So
how you.
you'll- It's sold out, our producer says.
It's sold out.
Oh yeah, but
Wow.
I'm sure there's gonna have
Yeah,
they're
we
gonna
can
have
have
digital
digital,
copies.
right? Get it up on
Wow.
Comixology and stuff,
Yeah.
you know?
They
There's
said
always
they're going
digital
into second.
release. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, sorry. Yeah. So that's sold. Our producer just told us that it's sold out, and
It's going into second printing.
But I'm sure it's going to be available on digital copy.
Everything is. It's weird. That's actually my preferred mode of reading comics these days.
Do you
Because
have
it's.
an iPad?
I mean, I use this thing.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. On my little iPhone, it's like so
Right.
claustrophobic.
It's not fun,
Yeah,
but like
okay.
something at least this large. I mean, it's a good experience, and it relieves you of all those floppies lying around at home. So
Floppy disks.
Oh,
Little paper.
like the actual
Yeah,
comic
hard
books.
paper,
Floppy comic
paperback.
books, yeah.
I was
But
like,
you can't sell those.
surely you weren't
Yeah.
alive when floppy disks were a thing, Earl.
no.
I loved my floppy disks. I played
1.44,
games on them.
Two? I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I
played,
know.
like,
I also played with floppy disks.
3.5
Wow.
or
Yeah.
5.
3.5, 1.44 megabytes.
Yeah.
That's
Nice.
crazy. Speaking of games, we're going into gaming news. And this next item,
Our producer
Rodney
hates when we
hates
do
us.
that.
this next item has got me pretty excited. It's Legend of Zelda, the Ocarina of Time co-op mod. Jen,
Okay. So that was a very minor key rendition of the minor theme. Anyway, Ocarina of Time. So several people took Ocarina of Time and modded it so that it could accommodate 16 players in a co-op setting now,
Yeah.
which is pretty smart. I mean, like, you know, that's a great idea to have. However, it's not like being produced by like a major gaming company, so it's not like we can buy this, right? I'm assuming.
no, we probably won't be able to buy it, but I'm sure they're going to distribute it like for free on the internet.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if we don't get get it for free, if it's not free to play, I'm sure there's going to be the cost is going to be nominal at best, because usually
Yeah.
modders do it for the love of the game.
It'll be like generally like Minecraft, you know, which I'm wondering, like, is the server going to be better than Minecraft?
We'll find
They've
out.
been on the same one since like forever.
I'm sure they're gonna. It's gonna be the situation where they're gonna release the code for the server side, and then whoever wants to host can.
Right,
And
right.
Then,
And
so.
honestly, like, how are the people going to play? There's like 16 different links playing at the same
I was
time.
gonna ask, like, so is someone playing Link? Is someone that you can't play some other character?
Yeah.
It's always through Link.
It's
so
not
I
like
don't-
Super Smash since
yeah.
it's a mod,
How is
right?
that gonna work?
Well, what I saw from the extended gameplay was that it's going to be you're all playing Link, but it's you're going to be color coded.
Oh, okay.
So
But and interacting in the same world? Or-
interacting
Yeah,
in the same
fighting
world, so you get
against-
to do the same puzzles and fighting the same things, fighting the same bosses.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's going to scale in terms of like difficulty.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So
Actually, I mean, you know, there's something to be said about that, because remember when Twitch played Pokemon,
right.
right? I mean, or like speed runs too. Like Ocarina of Time is like one of those games that has the most speed runs done of it.
Right. That's
So
true.
I don't know. There might be an added difficulty in like too many cooks in the kitchen, and how do you balance gameplay with 16 players for
Well,
a single player game?
The cool thing about that is that the lead dev is actually Melon's speedruns. He's a Twitch streamer, and he does speedruns of everything. So I think him and the rest of his team, they're definitely going to have that in mind. Probably when they get to a releasable, like a release candidate of the game. Right now, according to their socials and everything that they released on the website, it's still very much in development.
Right.
So we're not going to find out what its final iteration is going to be until maybe sometime later this year.
Right.
It's just something that's super exciting.
Right. Yeah, and you know what I find weird though? That Breath of the Wild had this entire open world aspect and yet was
Right.
still single player.
Right.
Right?
That's true.
Yeah.
But it's always single player, isn't it?
No, it always is, but like they made it open world, which it never
Yeah.
was. So
Right.
why
So
didn't
why
they
not?
expand it so that you could play as different characters?
Purists.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wow.
it's
Yes.
the 2019, right? I mean,
That's true.
Why
I
can't you
guess-
play as the princess?
Because of tradition.
I would love to play as Zelda.
Yeah, you can play
totally.
as
I always
Zelda in
dreamed of being
Smash
Zelda.
Brothers, but you can't play Zelda in a Zelda game.
That's true.
Isn't that
And
strange?
it's called Zelda. The fuck?
Damn. Get with the
knows?
program.
Wow.
Maybe
Call that
if
man.
Nintendo.
maybe if there's enough fan interest, that'll be the newest thing.
Start the campaign right now.
Yeah.
It'll be like a battle royale.
Oh, yeah.
Battle
Oh,
Royale.
combine the two
Yeah.
games.
That's what I'm
snaps.
saying.
Yeah.
That's
Like
what
other-
I'm saying.
I mean, there are other properties, big
It's a
properties that are
quest
coming
and
up.
then 16-player battle royale.
Why
in
not?
Zelda?
Why not mod Breath of the
Hyrule.
Wild so you can have a co-op Breath of the Wild and have a Fortnite thing close in on them? I mean, like, the possibilities are endless.
Wow.
This is what I'm saying.
It's just gonna be.
I would do it
We'll let
myself.
you be in the charge of doing
I
that.
would do it myself if I knew how to
You
code.
do that.
I mean, there are
It's
other
just
big
gonna be WoW, but
Yeah,
Zelda.
But Zelda.
right.
Might be a thing. I want some royalties off that
There
idea.
are other big franchises that are coming out with battle royale versions of their games or modes in their games, like Battlefield 5. That's coming out with a Firestorm. Battlefield 5 is the massively co-op. Not even really. There's co-op, but there's also team based. But it's PvP, like Call of Duty. But Battlefield 5 is launching a Firestorm mode for their newest iteration, which is again Battlefield 5. So it's going to be just like a lot of the other battle royale. I can't talk. Holy crap!
What's happening to Earl?
Sorry.
Twin Peach.
Twin Peach. It's going to be like a lot of the other battle royale games where there's going to be a circle that's closing in, and then there's destructible environments, just like all the other Battlefield games. But instead of just a generic kind of circle closing in, it's a firestorm. It's a ring of fire that's closing in. And
But that's not too far-fetched from like Fortnite where it's just
No.
called the Storm.
yeah, it's just called the
You know,
storm.
there's a
a
storm and there's a
different gimmick, yeah.
firestorm.
yeah, it is definitely different gimmick.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's the same gimmick.
yeah.
I just wonder how long, the lifespan of this, like, you know, if it's
You mean
gonna
battle
go
royale?
Yeah,
in general.
I mean, it's popular, and like, how long will people
Is
get
it just a
tired of it?
trend?
Yeah, if, like 2 more years, or
Probably.
3 more years.
Yeah, I think a couple more years. I mean, the developers are going to try to milk it as much as they can. I mean, this happens
With
you know,
everything.
with everything, yeah.
Movies.
movies,
Everything's a battle royale in the movies.
MMOs.
I think it's
Yeah.
going to move into VR next.
Battle royale VR.
Yeah,
So you can like kill your friends and stuff.
I think so. I think deep down we just want to kill our friends
Yeah, in like a virtual reality simulation.
virtually
So you can like punch that guy in class
and have no
can't-
consequences.
Exactly.
nice.
I'm down for that.
Okay.
All
I was
right.
about to say
not
actually
projecting.
because that sounded very much like Black Mirror, which
I was
reminded
gonna say,
me,
thinking about Bandersnatch.
which
yeah.
reminds me
God.
of Twilight Zone. You know, I was going to say
bringing it back.
Bringing it back for half a second.
Yeah.
I really would like to see how the new Twilight Zone holds a candle or
To Black
is
Mirror.
in conversation with Black Mirror.
I was thinking the same thing.
Right.
Black Mirror is fantastic.
They've already
Right.
set a
So
precedent.
they're superb. I don't know how they can overcome Black Mirror.
I think they're going to have to kind of sidestep it, like
Yeah, just
make it a
pretend it doesn't
little
exist.
different, or because it's you don't go to head with
Well,
something like that.
having watched the trailer, I know we're bringing it back, but having watched the trailer, it looks like it's formula. It's stylized to be a lot more close to the original source material.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
They even play the actual Twilight Zone theme song in the trailer. So it's
Yeah, but you
Jen
can play a
just
theme song
smirked.
and be like narratively completely different is what
I
I'm
don't know.
saying.
There's something
Bioshock
about it
2.
that
Feel
felt very Twilight
Bioshock
Zone.
2. Dang.
Well, I mean, even the new
Anyways.
Star Trek is like completely different from
Exactly.
the original Star Trek that they're the source material.
True.
It remains to be seen. We'll watch it.
We shall
We'll know
see,
for
we
sure.
shall see.
Well, last up on gaming news, Borderlands 3 just got announced.
Yeah, and so they came out with a new trailer for Borderlands, which wasn't really showing much. It just showed some of like
Right.
Is it just
And-
rats?
no, yeah, something almost similar. It's just like it's a nice little 3D rendering and of like characters from the past, and it's just I think it's just hinting of like, oh, you expect to see the stuff that you loved from 2 and original Borderlands, but they didn't really reveal much about like what's the gameplay. Oh, sorry. What?
Is there going to be that guy that goes like, "Shoot me in the head"? Shoot me in
There
the
was
head.
no dialogue. It was just character figures.
Oh,
and,
right,
like,
right.
and then
No one
it
knows what I'm
starts-
talking about.
From Borderlands 2, right?
Yeah.
It's like, you guys know what I'm talking about?
No, I got
No?
you.
There's a character
Yeah, yeah.
that literally asks you to shoot him in the
Shoot me in
head,
the head.
and he moves his head around like. And you're
That should
supposed
be
to
a
shoot him.
standard
And just
in every
gesticulated
game.
wildly. For those of you who cannot see.
Who's only
Right.
listening for the podcast.
Yeah. Anyway, somebody who's like watching, please like list the name of that character so that
Yeah.
I don't have to live
Talk
in
to
shame
us.
forever.
Please
Comment below.
We need to know.
Have you played Borderlands?
I was going to ask you
Me
that.
myself,
Yeah. Do you-
no.
have any of us
haven't
played
it.
Borderlands?
No, I
Not in
recently just
entirety.
got back into console gaming. I guess no, Borderlands 2 came out on PC,
can't-
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
I have
yeah.
no
And
excuse.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no
Your
excuse.
excuse doesn't hold up.
I'm a console
yeah.
gamer. It,
Right. You know what? I'm gonna blame everything on World of Warcraft. So
it took up all your time.
It's like you should be on a geek
Yeah.
podcast.
My,
what is this?
So nerdy.
yeah,
What
my,
a
my excuse
nerd.
is I'm a console player.
I am a console player.
I like the PS4 so far. I mean, I've
love
only
it.
had it for a couple months, but
I love it.
you know,
Yeah.
I love my pro.
You
Yeah.
should. Have you played Witcher 3 now?
I have not played Witcher 3.
You have to.
I know that's
Even
on.
I've played Witcher 3,
I've made her play
Briefly.
the first.
but I was enjoying it. Yeah. Yeah. It was great.
Maybe I'll pick it
Good
up on
music.
next
So
Steam
good.
sale.
Fantastic soundtrack.
I listened to the
Right.
soundtrack over and over. Like the screaming Polish ladies
Yeah,
can
the
have
screaming,
my
screaming
number
Polish
any
ladies.
day.
Yeah. When you want to get your, that's
It's, like,
literally what it
so
sounds
good.
like. If
Right.
you, any of you guys want to get your premenstrual rage out of the way,
Right.
Dude.
blast that shit in your car.
Yeah, it's
so good.
cathartic as
Yeah,
fuck.
yeah.
Like so
I'll take a
good.
mental note.
Yes.
Yes.
I'll add it to my Steam wish list.
Just saying.
When you're about to blow off
Yeah.
some steam.
yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So
Ooh.
witty.
Blowing off.
Your
Um.
Different kind of thing.
All right. So with that,
Anyways, moving on.
we are moving on to our main
Our
topic,
main tops.
which is Game of Thrones.
Okay.
Bruh.
I love that we create our own musical transitions.
Right. We don't need recordings.
Not at all.
Hell nah.
We got this. We'll do everything a cappella.
Yeah.
So there was a whole bunch of new promos that got dropped. We watched a couple of them, and actually we watched all. We're gonna
Well,
watch
we're
a
gonna
couple of
watch one today, kitties.
Just drop.
We're gonna
we
watch
watched
it.
the first two.
them. Right.
Okay, let's see if we can turn the
Hey,
audio
we
on
haven't
the
tested
TV.
the audio yet.
We have not tested the audio.
We
on the TV.
apologize.
Hold on.
We're normally a
he's
little
got,
more
no, he's got
prepared.
the remote. He's got the remote.
So what we're gonna do right now
for
is
those
we're gonna.
who can't see. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
For those who cannot see, we are currently testing the audio on the television screen behind us so that we can watch the newest Game of Thrones season 8 teaser tonight.
Did you say seasoning teaser?
Season 8.
Oh, season 8
Season
teaser.
eight.
Seasoning tree.
See, I, unlike Earl, don't
seasoning.
make up my own words.
I'm cool because of it. No, I'm just kidding.
There it
All
is.
right, so
There
let's
it is.
see it.
Alright, wait,
Courtesy of
I
YouTube.
don't want to look at it just yet.
Is he? I don't
Oh,
think
it's
there's
only
a-
11 seconds
The
long.
volume is
Oh, it's just
all the
11
way up.
seconds?
Yeah.
Well, that's going to be
It's
anti.
1 minute.
1 minute 11
And
seconds.
11
Oh,
seconds.
okay. Wait, really?
Well, let's just. You can put it on post.
Wait. Where's
are we
this? Oh,
watching
this is
this?
Winterfell. Yeah.
Set output to TV. Oh, you can't set output to. It's a little.
Oh.
Whoa.
Wait. Is this Winterfell?
It's
Yeah, this is
Winterfell.
Winterfell.
It's just there's a feather dropping.
It's empty.
So we got a feather dropping.
It's really pretty music right
This is for.
Okay.
Okay.
So, we'll
So
just
our
do it
producer
live.
just pulled it away.
Should we just
and,
watch it on my phone then? Okay, let me bring this up. Sorry, guys. Bear with us.
So did you know that on Song Exploder they explain the logic behind the Game of Thrones theme song?
What?
So the composer for the Game of Thrones theme song
Ramin
introduces Ramin Djawadi, who created the Westworld theme song as well.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I got
And,
to see the whole thing
Pacific
in concert.
Rim.
So he said that the reason why the violin starts off alone and then is joined by a cello with the same theme is because he wanted to represent the way that people travel alone and
You did tell me this. Yeah.
discover people along the way, and that's how they join
Wow.
unions. And the
So
whole
good.
story is about making and breaking those unions between people.
Oh,
Okay, guys.
wow. He's
We got
deep.
the teaser. It looks like everybody dies. There's like no one here.
You want to just play
But
in
there's
the
also no
background while she
bodies,
has
so
Okay.
okay, we're watching this.
We're watching this on my little. Oh, damn it. How do I. Yeah.
it? Just play it.
Oh, well. We're going to watch it like this, I guess.
That sounds scary.
There's like nobody there.
So it's just
It's like,
empty scenes of Winterfell.
but it sounds like violence
Yeah.
that's like long removed. Oh my god, that's chilling.
Horses.
It's a battle.
Yeah, this is already an epic teaser.
Wow.
Is that long ago?
It sounds like Event Horizon at the end.
Doors open.
Liberate
Oh my
tutebe.
god.
Excellent fairness.
Oh, man.
Holy shit. So, like, was
That
that a
was total
precursor or
teaser.
an epilogue? You know what I mean? Is that
Yeah,
a
where does that take
prologue
place?
That was a
or an
teaser.
In the
epilogue?
timeline.
There's
We're gonna live
nobody
to the end.
in Winterfell. Maybe it's just like a thematic
It
representation.
is. It's just there to get you talking.
Yeah.
That was a
Right.
tease.
It was a tease.
Or if it's actual footage from the show. Everybody's dead!
Yeah, but where are their bodies, though?
Exactly.
They're White
They're
They're
on
all
that
White
poster.
Walkers. They're all
the
White
poster
Walkers.
that
I know.
we saw earlier today.
Oh, that's right.
They all got
Yeah.
turned.
There's a poster that just came out for the new season where all of the people that are remaining and alive in the show are like shaped like swords that are found on the Iron Throne, and it looks like an Iron Throne is in the soil or in the snow.
But it's a whole mess of bodies just laid out in
Right.
the snow.
Oh.
It's
Have you seen that
creepy.
one?
It
No,
looks
but
really
it's like
good.
it's
yeah.
similar to episode like season 1 when they were they were making designs of the whites
Oh,
Whites.
yeah. The
where
signs
when
in
the
ground.
Night's Watch
Yeah.
came in and saw the design
Yeah,
using dead
from
bodies.
the very
Yeah.
first scene of the entire series.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
it's mimicking. Ah, wow.
bringing
I
it
know.
back.
How ominous.
Bringing
So-
it back. Exciting.
But oh, sorry. Go ahead. Because
And you know that's kind of terrifying too, because like you think of zombies as like without logic or without like restraint, right? So like the fact that they can make something like artistic or organized chaos in that way is like kind of terrifying, because like what else are they capable of?
Because it means there's a culture.
Right. Or there's a
Or at
Rhyme or
least-
reason
Right,
to
or
that.
I
rhyme
mean,
to reason,
there
yeah,
is-
rhyme to reason.
a few of the top dogs or the elite, the knights and the Night King and his
His lieutenants.
royal court.
Yeah.
They
The four
have the
horsemen.
thought. They have a culture, and they still have. I think they do have. They're sentient beings. It's their their spawns that are just
yeah.
dead
The
weight.
mindless.
So we were talking over Korean barbecue after
I
WonderCon
knew, yes.
about who
Who's the Night King?
the Night King is and who are the White Walkers, right? And we came to the conclusion that our best theory is what?
Well, people like
My-
to theorize that
yeah.
it's.
My belief is Bran the Builder.
Yeah, people tend to think it's Bran Stark, but Bran is named after the Stark ancestor Bran the Builder, who created Winterfell.
Right.
Didn't he also build the wall?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, is it
Yeah.
both? I might be getting mixed
There,
up.
I know
Is
there
that
are
why he's
several.
called the Builder?
Yeah,
The
I know.
original.
Yeah, he built
original-
something. He built some shit.
some
yeah.
The
shit.
original, like because
he built something.
from lore, I
Yeah.
mean, because
It might be the
Bran is a
wall, yeah.
reusable name too.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So Bran the Builder, the way ancestor
Yeah.
is he was responsible for the commissioning or whatever the wall.
Yeah, and it makes sense because the Starks like to pride themselves on the fact that they have blood of the first
Men. Mm-hmm.
And the first men came over from the other continent and had
Right.
this huge war with the Children of the Forest. And as we know from season 6, the Children of the Forest created the White Walkers from men.
Right.
So it would make sense. Who came up
So-
with that? That was a great theory. Was that you, Jen?
I don't
Someone
know.
came up with it.
I don't
that
know.
was, I got chills.
That was Bran the Builder.
Yeah. Well, let's fast forward. Like, let's rewind to that Korean
That
barbecue
night,
restaurant
that
thing that we had.
epic night.
A lot of conversations were
Yeah.
had.
So many other
Many.
things happened.
Other things were said involving Kaitlyn being tricked.
And drug parties being planned.
But we can't
Right.
talk about
Yeah.
that.
We can't
No,
talk about that.
no,
on a
let's
geek
not.
podcast.
Yeah.
Can't tell you. Sorry. But
Sorry.
also, what else were we saying? We were talking about the White Walkers, Bran the Builder. So Bran was also a name used by Ned's brother, who Catelyn was supposed to marry.
Brandon. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Before he was killed in the War of the...
Well, that's almost kind of what started it,
Right.
right? Yeah.
Oh, so in the Science Behind Game of Thrones panel, they also addressed the wall and how that's like architecturally impossible to build.
I mean, if the
Structurally.
slope is like steep enough,
no. Again,
but there's no way they could have made it. Yeah,
the
not with their
problem-
technology, right?
Yeah, not with the technology. And the only way that they could construct that is what they said is that it would have to be on a glacier. But if it were on a glacier, then it would mean it would constantly move.
would
So it
be-
wouldn't
yeah.
stay
Right.
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
north where it's supposed to be. Also, it's not cold enough to sustain a glacier of that size because there's also trees and
Yeah,
stuff growing around.
a forest.
Meaning that
Right.
there's
Yeah.
organic growth behind it.
Wait, but what if
Well-
there wasn't a forest? Then do you think it'd be?
Then
cold
it
enough?
could be, yeah.
but it would still move. It
Exactly.
wouldn't be stationary.
You know what's
Whoa.
funny is...
500 feet
Oh, go
tall,
ahead.
But
right?
magic. There's also old magic that they put.
Well,
into
I was
the
thinking,
walls,
like,
so,
what
yeah.
if they just
Yeah.
literally did build an actual wall? It just started freezing over with the snow, and it just
Right.
No, but
eventually
it's
compacts.
confirmed that it's made of pure ice, right? There's
Oh,
no.
that's true.
It is
Yeah,
made
it's
of
made
pure
of pure
ice.
ice.
That's
Yeah.
what they
They
say.
say it's made of pure ice.
When
yeah.
when it gets...
It's in the
But
books,
but
Arnold.
that's myth.
Yeah.
It becomes legend.
Like 300 miles long.
No, they straight up
Right.
say there's.
Well,
they
no,
use
in the
magic to
panel
build
they
it,
did
yeah.
say because to explain the unexplained, there's like okay,
Yeah.
that extra factor is just
Well, there was
magic.
yeah. absolutely magic involved because there is a ward on the wall.
There's a protective spell to prevent
Right.
the White Walkers from crossing.
So there, I mean, that's
Right.
that's also involved.
Okay, interesting.
The
We can't say more because Caitlin hasn't finished watching.
I already know what
season
happens.
7.
It's fine.
What's interesting is that I was reading this anecdote where they were working on the art design for the wall for the show, and Gurm, GRM, George R.R. Martin, Gurm,
I like the way that Jen just like knocked her fist on the table when you said that.
Gurm. So Gurm,
So Gurm.
I'm going to use that from now on.
You can call
I call
J.R.R.
him Grim.
Tolkien.
You call him Gurm.
J.R.R. Tolkien
Germ.
is going to be Jert from now on.
Jert.
Jert.
But he saw the designs for the wall and he was like, "Oh no, it's got to be way taller than that." You
mean the original designs?
because in the book, the wall's like
Like a-
something like 700 feet tall or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If somebody knows the actual dimensions of the wall, comment below.
Wait, so he believed it needed to be taller than the wall they already have in the series, or when he first saw the designs first?
When he first saw designs, he asked how tall that
okay.
wall is, and then they were like, "Oh, it's about 400 feet," and he was like, "No, it's got to be
More.
way taller than that." And the designers were like, "No, this is what's going to look like if
Yeah.
it's that tall." And then he was like, "Oh, that's weird." So they went with what was existing.
Yeah,
in their,
because it's like in
designs.
the Iron Throne. The Iron Throne should be
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot bigger, as
Way
described in
crazy,
the books, like
right.
crazier and weirder
Yeah.
and bigger.
I've seen like renditions of the Iron Throne,
Same, yeah.
and it's like there's no way that thing can stand.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because it's like it's this massive just. It's not really. There's not too much of a form to it. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's almost the stairs and the chair.
It's like
Right,
what you
right.
use to make a snow fort, or like out of the sand on the beach when you're trying to compact a wall to defend against the waves. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's like what a kid makes when they pile up
Like a sandbar,
sand
yeah.
or
Yeah, yeah,
snow.
yeah.
And that's
That's
when I
what it looks
realized
like.
my dreams will never stand. They always get knocked down by water.
Yes,
Oh,
exactly.
Dread first says the wall is about 100 leagues or 300 miles long, about 700 feet tall,
Tall.
yeah.
Okay.
and 300 feet in width. Thank you.
Thank
Wow,
you.
nice.
Look at that.
Sharp.
Yeah.
There's like
Dread
three.
first.
You know how there's like different sections.
Right.
of
And there's
the-
castles
There's
all
Castle
Castles, yeah.
Black. There's the
East
Eastwatch.
Watch.
Yeah.
And then what was
Eastwatch
what, there was
by
like
the sea.
Westwatch or something?
Yeah, there's a
There's
bunch
several,
of
There's
and
like
then
a number
there's
of
there's a
them,
few
yeah.
of them that's been abandoned.
Yeah,
and-
like nobody mans the wall anymore because there's
yeah,
not
and
enough
one of
men
them's
to-
they
Right.
suspect is haunted.
Dragonstone.
Yeah, question.
Question.
Ooh.
Okay, our
So-
producer
Three.
just asked us what our top 3 favorite moments from Game of Thrones are.
I'm trying to think.
Do you want to start from Earl?
I can start with. I can give one
Okay,
for
I know
sure.
mine. I know what mine are.
My very first one was a specific moment in the Battle of Hardhome where we think John's gonna die because he's getting cornered by that White Walker, and then he move of desperation, he blocks with Longclaw, and it shatters the ice spear. And in that moment, we learned that like, oh shit, Valerian steel works on these fuckers.
Actually, no, we knew that from
we
season
did.
3 or 4 with Sam.
Oh,
Remember?
right.
But this one was like confirmation.
Yeah, this was confirmation.
It was dragon glass that he stabbed him with, though.
Dragon glass as a
Sam
but
uses
dragon
dragon
glass
glass.
isn't the same thing as Valerian steel.
No.
Valerian steel
Valerian-
is steel. It's
that's
it's a
crafted
But it's
mystical-
steel.
used from
No.
obsidian.
No.
Dragon glass is.
There are theories that dragon glass is used in the making of Valerian.
That's what I
Right.
thought. Yeah.
There's theories that
theories.
dragon
No,
glass
but
is
it's made of
used
steel.
in
So they
making
both-
Valerian steel,
But
Can
Valerian.
kill dragon
Right.
White
White
Walkers.
Walker.
Yes.
right?
That Valerian
I thought it was like the
steel
same thing in my
was
head.
it came from the old world, which is like supposedly
Old Valyria,
steel,
yeah.
old Valeria,
Well,
which has
yeah.
Which
mystical.
used dragon
Yeah.
glass in their stuff.
Again, that's theory, but they were like they believe that Valerian steel had mystical or magical powers. Like
Right.
it's almost like the theory is like, oh, it's special steel or metal that they either has already magical
Damascus
properties
steel.
on it,
Yeah.
or it was prayed over by wizards and
Right,
whatever.
There's something
Got-
to the process
Oh,
process
I
of its
totally
making.
Thought, yeah, I
that
totally
makes
thought it had
it.
dragon glass.
and that's
in
why
it. Yeah.
Valerian
Oh,
steel is
right.
only you can't mine it anymore. It's just a
Yeah.
limited quantity, or
Right,
that's
right,
why
right,
like
right.
the swords are very special.
Right.
Interesting.
And Valyria is where the Targaryens are from.
Right, but it's
so
gone now.
Well,
Right.
there's
So
a
there's
bunch of
some element
grayscale monsters living.
Right.
there.
yeah.
Grayscale.
Wait, so favorite moments? Who?
That was my one. That was my
Oh,
one.
okay. That was a great. My favorite moment from that scene
Yeah.
from Hardhome was when all the walkers are just like hounding them, and Dolores Ed is
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
"Oh fuck!" he screams,
I love Dolores Ed.
and he starts
Dolores Ed.
running. So good.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm so sad.
Oh. Two more
yeah,
from you.
Yeah.
Two more for me.
2 more moments. Yeah.
I'm gonna. Can we go like kind of round
Yeah, let's
robin?
go.
Oh,
for, like,
sure.
Yeah.
Okay, one of my favorite moments, probably top favorite moment, is when Daenerys rides off from Ostapor,
That was a
Oh,
good
yeah,
one.
yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same
drops
thing.
the unsullied torch from her hand. Like,
You mean
or
the whip? The whip.
The whip,
She drops the
basically.
whip.
Yeah, and
it
like
goes,
she goes like Donageris, and like the like unsullied go like Puh! Basically. I made that cosplay. That blue
Right.
dress definitely made it by
Nice.
hand. It was asymmetrical, but I did it. Love that so much.
Still, that's awesome.
It was like the moment she took back her strength. You know what I mean? And like she actually torched a place and showed what a Targaryen's strength looks like.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
It was really great. After crawling out of the shadows of her brother.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the same thing, but since she took mine, I'll go ahead and start off with what's cool about the show is they oftentimes get to expound upon things that are not in the books.
Right.
And sometimes it works to amazing effect. And one of them is a monologue that does not exist in the books. It's from season 3. It's when Kaitlyn Tully she's making she's weaving like a dream catcher looking thing, and she's talking to Talisa, Rob's wife.
Oh right.
And
right.
yeah. Oh my god, I just get chills. And with the music in that scene, like I cry every time I watch it. She says, "Oh, let me help you with that." And Kat, who has been suspicious of Talisa this whole time, says, "No." And then she softens a bit and goes, "Well, it's only going to work if a mother makes it." And then she explains she made it 3 times in her life. She's making it now for her son, Rob. She made it when her son, Bran, fell from a wall.
Right.
And we saw that happen in season 1. And then the first time she ever made it was when one of the boys got sick, and they thought he was going to die, and she made it so that he would live, and it was Jon Snow.
Right.
And she made a
Oh,
vow.
God.
She was like, I feel so bad because I couldn't love this boy. So I think maybe if I pray now and he'll live, I'll treat him like he's my son. I'll be a good mother to him. And she's
Right.
like, and I couldn't keep my promise. And she's like, in all the
So
horror
good.
and suffering and sadness that has happened ever since then, it's because I couldn't love a motherless boy.
Oh my god.
Heat.
Yeah.
Heat.
Oh my gosh.
Heat.
And the music when it plays is like so amazing. I love that scene.
She is great.
Michelle
by the way.
Fairley?
Michelle
Yeah,
Fairley.
she's so good.
Wow, she deserves way more shows. She deserves an
She
Emmy.
was in Suits for a hot second.
Really?
Right? Yeah, that was
Where
it.
is she
Yeah.
now?
She was
was
Hermione's
Lord.
mom.
She's somebody's mom.
Hermione's
What?
mom
She
in
was
the
Hermione's
last,
mom.
last two
like a hot
movies.
second. Yeah, it's just Hermione's mom.
Yeah.
Your turn.
My first favorite moment would be, I think, when Daenerys came out of that fire after burning herself with the witch, and like
Oh,
the dragon,
season one.
and then
Yeah.
the
She's
dragons
naked.
finally that too, and but the dragons finally being revealed
Right.
because
Yeah.
like
the
before
first
that
time,
everyone's
yeah.
before that it's like, oh, they're dragon eggs, yeah,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
whatever,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
hey, stone, but
yeah,
then.
yeah.
You know, she's the only one who believed that they're actually dragon eggs. She really
Right.
believed, and she was like, you know what? I actually think I can survive this fire. And she sat in there and burned the witch that killed her husband, and
Right.
you know who she thought she was helping. And then the next thing you know, boom, you got wakes. I remember watching that, and I was like, "Holy shit, there's dragons!"
Credits, yeah.
yeah.
It's a great way to end
I
the
was
first
like,
season.
Such
yeah, I was
amazing.
like,
Perfect way to
Dude.
end it,
that's
yeah.
that's when I knew. I was like, I'm in.
Right,
This
right.
show's
Yeah,
got
yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Check this out. Like, when's the last time there was like a show of this caliber that had dragons in
Yeah,
it? You know?
Yeah,
Right.
so
I thought it was just like, oh, it's a
Watch
cool
them-
Lord of the Rings thing, but I'm
you
like,
Yeah.
knew they had a budget from the first scene. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
watch them grow up from
Yeah.
season to season.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing.
Great. Okay, second
Woo,
moment.
chills.
Second
All right, second
moment.
moment. Yeah.
When Daenerys buys the Unsullied from the, is it from Yunkai or the Miranese slavers?
No, it's from neither. It's from Ostapor.
Ostapor.
Yeah.
From the
It's
Ostapor
kind of
slaves.
like her
Mine?
scene, but
Right.
it's when she
Yeah.
actually does the trick, right?
When she does the trick,
Right.
when they're talking mad crap about
yeah,
her,
yeah,
Yeah.
and then she starts talking old Valyrian, and she's
Yeah.
like,
She's like, I am Valyrian.
You
Yeah.
speak old Valyria.
of course I would
my
speak
name
my
is
mother
Daenerys.
tongue, and
like
I was like,
it's Valyrian is my mother tongue. And
yeah,
you're like, oh,
damn.
Oh my god, I have chills.
yeah,
That's
and then
like
she
when-
goes,
You
burn,
done
kill the
effed
masters, burn anyone holding a whip, or kill
Yeah.
anyone holding a whip, and then
Burn,
burn
baby,
everything
burn.
That
down.
was awesome.
Oh my god,
So good.
It's
chills.
like
That's
when-
the best moment, yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
when your relatives are talking shit about you in like your native language, and they think you don't speak it, but then you say, you know, in Tagalog, you're like, no, I heard you.
Yeah, yeah.
Is it the first time she's
That is the
Dracarys?
first time she says
Can I say
Dracarys.
something?
Right.
The first time she says Dracarys, she says it in a she says it in a Valyrian accent. She goes Dracarys.
Dracarys.
And then in
Dracarys.
season 6, when she tells her dragons to burn the ships,
Right.
she goes Dracarys.
It's all American.
She loves the accent.
She has this.
She suddenly became like Gringo
I
Daenerys.
know.
Yeah, she goes Dracarys.
She's like, I'm in
Yeah.
Westeros now.
She has this very
Happened there.
the
yeah.
hard rotive
the-
R.
That was weird.
Western
Yeah.
accent.
Yeah, she lost
Well,
it,
maybe
yeah.
you know they're baby dragons. She don't, you know, they're confused still. So she has to have the mother tongue.
Yeah.
Now that they're
Now
older,
they
they're a
know,
little more
yeah.
cultured dragons. They've traveled.
Yes, I
They
guess.
can understand
I
accent.
know. Bless you.
Salud.
Dracarys.
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 Dracar. Cologne.
Dracar. No.
The S is
Sorry,
silent.
call back.
Jen,
Does
do you have
sound
a
like a
second?
cologne for men.
Yes.
It is
Okay.
really
So
Dracarys.
jumping on the Daenerys wagon once more.
She has all the good scenes.
She has all the good
lot
ones.
of good
epic
scenes.
scenes.
All the
yeah.
plot armor
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you could.
Yeah.
But yeah, so one of my favorites was still the vision that she gets when she walks through
House of Undying.
House of Undying.
Is that the
Yeah.
ash one or the snow?
It's
We
at the
don't
end
know.
of season 2 when she
Yeah.
sees her husband. And
Right.
child.
Oh, right.
When she
okay.
sees her husband and with her child that she would have had,
Right.
and
Yeah.
you know the witch basically tells her like when the sun rises in the east and sets in the west.
Yeah.
Rises in the west and sets in the east, I should say.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was just entirely moving for me because I was also going through a breakup at the time, and I was like, this is but it was also like really painful in the best way because you know that like certain things have to be let go. And she has that line where she says like if I look back, I am lost.
I'm gonna cry.
So,
That's
Jen,
awesome.
let's delve into that breakup a little bit.
We don't need to talk about
Oh
it.
God! Oh God!
Sorry.
Oh,
Don't
no.
need to talk about it.
Oh, no.
I'll write my own series about it.
I
Check
was
this out.
So So I was gonna name this as my last good moment, but I'm gonna have to think of another one because you took one of mine. Okay, so I'll say this
Again?
I think this one might be my favorite moment, but there's so many good moments. I'm really trying to rack my brain to.
Right.
Okay, so maybe my favorite scene in the whole series is when Oberyn comes to visit Tyrion when he's in his cell, and he's gonna, he needs a, he's on trial for killing Joffrey, and Oberyn just kind of coolly just strides in there, and he's like, "I was hanging out with a stunning blonde, your sister," and Tyrion's like, "Oh God, here it comes," and he says, he tells a story about how he first met Tyrion, and Tyrion doesn't know any of this. He's like, "You were the biggest disappointment when I first met you," and he says that everyone had been talking about the monster that Tywin Lannister had, the newest kid that killed his wife. And he tells Tyrion, "I saw you, and you weren't a monster." I said, "That's just a baby." And again, the music and Tyrion, like there's tears in Peter Dinklage's eyes because
He's
he grew up with shit
incredible.
like
Oh
that.
my God.
People calling him like weird, a monster, dwarf. And then to top it all off, the theme, the music starts growing, and he's like, "What about my revenge?" And then he takes a torch, and he's like, "I will be your champion." 'Cause he's avenging his dead sister.
So many
right.
hopes. So many hopes.
When I was watching that, I went, "Ha ha! Ha ha!" I started clapping. I was like, yo.
Only did you.
I know.
Yeah, I know.
Dude,
I know.
the Mountain Viper fucked me up hard. I was
Oh my
like,
God.
When he was.
I'm still not over it.
Yeah.
No.
I was so pissed. Like, and even when I was like, "Why are you celebrating?"
I was like,
Finish
double
it.
tap, motherfucker.
As soon as he started monologuing, we're like,
tap.
I was like,
not
yeah,
gonna-
he's not gonna
He's not gonna
survive.
survive. Yeah.
Yeah, so many to choose from, but it's like my second one's gonna have to be Joffrey's death.
Really?
The Purple
Wow.
Wedding?
Really?
Was it that
The
satisfying?
purple wedding. Yeah, I was just like, kill this mother. And it's like
Let's
when he
kill this
finally did it, I was like, yes,
Like
finally
purple crawling
someone
up his
did
neck.
it.
You're
Yeah,
like, yeah, dude.
because he was just. I mean, there's so many, but I'll have to say like that. I was really like, yeah, I was happy. I was like, finally get Sansa out of there. Real quick, the third one, the
Real
last
quick,
one.
it's hard. But I'm going to say probably the war speech that Khal Drogo gives.
As the stars witness us, or the
that
stars look
one.
down and watch.
Yeah,
and
that
he just
one.
keeps saying it over and
No,
over.
just- and like, yeah,
And Daenerys looks wet AF.
yeah, dude.
She just
Yeah.
He's like, you're getting
That-
laid
She
tonight.
looked wet. Yeah, like when he was saying
It was in that moment, like because this was before Conan the Barbarian came out, starring Jason Momoa, right?
Right.
And it was like in that moment where I was like, oh man, he could carry that film. He could carry it. It could happen. But the film was just not good enough. But yeah, that I believe that was like the star-making moment for Jason Momoa.
That was
Yeah,
great.
absolutely.
That's the most he ever talks in the whole
I
season.
know.
The whole
That's
series.
probably why I was like, yeah, man,
Yeah.
speak.
Yeah, man.
He-
Yeah,
that's the
man.
most he talks.
Jason's like, this is gonna be in my reel. My
Sending
agent
this to
better
all
take
my
notes.
All my
agents.
agents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jen.
Yeah, so one of my favorite moments is still when Ygritte and Jon have that conversation, and she's like, "My dress is made of the finest silk from Tra-la-la-la-la." Oh, it's
But you have to do it with the accent.
Oh, gosh.
Save me, Jon Snow.
Yeah, nothing.
It's a really terrible accent, but I thought that was like the most chemistry I've seen on screen ever. And
Wait,
turns out,
scene? What was happening when she was? Were they in the cave?
they were walking. He was her prisoner.
Oh yeah.
And it was
yeah,
like
those
starting
are- yeah.
out,
The
and
whole
she was like,
flirtation, yeah.
that whole
Yeah.
thing. And I was like, the chemistry is so strong.
So strong.
Now
Yeah.
And
we
that's
know
why
why.
they're married
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Gosh,
yeah.
I have like
I mean, oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, just like 3 more moments popped in my head. Like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
love
I
all
know.
those.
There's
yeah.
so
Yeah.
many.
Okay.
Oh man. Okay. I don't know. I'm gonna say the entire episode 9 of season 2, Blackwater.
Blackwater.
That was
okay.
the first time they had like an actual battle.
Right.
There was none. We didn't see a battle in the season 1.
No.
This one they had the wildfire, and you realize, holy shit, do they have a budget now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is the first time that Game of Thrones had an episode that was all set in one location. It was all in King's
Bottle,
Landing.
yeah.
From the beginning to the end, the setup, you can feel you're on the verge of a battle when they start ringing the bells, when the Hound and Bronn are about to get into a fight, and then the bells start ringing, and everyone starts preparing for battle. When Joffrey makes Sansa kiss his sword and is like, I'm gonna have your lick your brother's blood off my sword. And then drunk Cersei with Sansa.
Mood.
Dude, Cersei's acting hella weird and drunk.
Right.
Yeah.
And she, like, when she sees Sansa praying and she's like drinking her wine, she's like, Sansa, come here. And she's like, what you doing? What you doing there?
Oh
Like,
my
She sounds
gosh.
Cockney.
she's like, drink. Not
What
like
are you
that.
doing?
Drink. Yeah, it's so good. And then the wildfire, and then Tyrion's speech,
Sandor.
and then Santa Clegane being like,
Fuck the king.
fuck the king.
Fucking Sandor.
And then he has a line. He's like, any man dies with a clean sword, I'll rape his fucking corpse.
Oh my
And the scene
god.
with Sansa, and then the ending scene where all seems to be lost, and
Right.
Cersei's gonna give milk of the poppy to Tommen,
Right,
And
yeah,
then
yeah.
Tywin comes in. He's like, "We've won the war."
Oh.
Perfect episode from beginning to end.
So good.
So good.
Tywin Lannister.
Sorry.
Tywin
Can I-
Lannister.
no, that's fine. I just want
Charles
to do a
Dance.
quick tie-in with like as what you were talking about Sansa and Cersei, and which
yeah.
is kind of ties into like Sophie Turner at the Laker game recently,
What happened?
chugging her wine. No, she gets on the jumbotron and she like chugs
Sucks
it.
her wine.
And
Yeah, I saw that.
I think it's
It's a
kind of in reference to that.
Nice.
So for me, the third like, it's if it was like the cave scene with Jon Snow and Ygritte, that's probably like one of my favorites. But it's that's not what I'm gonna choose because. But I just it would be up
Is
there.
it the one where she dies?
No.
stayed in
I
that
hated
cave.
that. But
Oh,
I love the
Fuck
fact that
Ollie.
they got together and when they finally hooked up,
Yeah.
I was like, yes, you go, boy.
Stupid Ollie.
But yeah,
hate
stupid
Ollie.
Ollie. But I'm torn between. I want to choose a battle, so it's either Battle of the Bastards or Hard Home. But I'm gonna have to go with Hard Home.
Hard
yeah.
Home.
Yeah.
Hard Home
Hard
was.
Home.
I feel like
That
Battle
was
of the Bastards
legit.
overrated. Am I crazy?
Nah,
thought
it was
great.
great.
I thought it
I thought it was
overrated,
great.
yeah.
The
I-
cinematography was amazing.
Well,
yeah.
yeah,
But
yeah.
even just the claustrophobia of him, and then just him rising from like the bodies
And not being
it's
able to
like a
one shot.
It's like the
Yeah.
rebirth.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
That was great, but Hard Home was just like you felt scared.
Right.
Yeah.
Like when
That
I
was
first saw it, I
terrifying.
was like, holy crap, are we just gonna see John? Is he really gonna die? Because I really
Yeah.
thought he was like, because you never know when a person's gonna die. So I was like,
Yeah.
holy shit, is this
Yeah.
dude
Yeah.
done for?
This
Yeah.
place has got death written all
And
over
then
it.
like
Yeah.
it's like the fast zombies and the snow, and they close the door and they're all screaming, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
just
And then it's all
silence.
silent.
Yeah.
And you're
Oh
just
my
like,
God.
It's like a horror film.
shit's about to go down.
And then that Then got his ass kicked by the White Walker.
Yeah, and then
And the chick with the daughters died.
Ah,
You
she's
know
so
what?
dope.
The eyes are all
Yeah.
shut,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
they all open.
and then
with
that
blue.
moment, the White Walker just looking at Jon Snow
Oh,
and be like,
when he goes like,
yeah,
He
he's like,
raises his arms
Come at me,
ever
bro.
but he's
so
just without
slowly.
saying,
Come at me, bro.
Come
But
at
to
me,
me, I
bro.
love that he stares at him and be like, check this out, bitch.
He goes like this. And it's dead silent.
Yeah.
It's dead silent.
It's dead
You just
silent.
hear the bones
All
like
the
clacking
bones
together.
rise.
You just
Yeah.
hear the
That
ship,
was-
the ship going through
Yeah.
the water, and it's dead silent.
Oh
It's
my
so good.
god,
And you're
It's
just like,
chilling.
God, I
Yeah.
wish these-
Chilling,
Good
yeah.
thing these zombies don't swim.
Yeah.
That's the
So-
next iteration of zombie movies.
We talked
Zombies that
about
can
Game of
swim.
Thrones like a lot just now,
Yeah.
and just want to remind everybody that we do have a Game of Thrones Live or Die pool going on. So we filled out that form last week. We'll post up our choices on the website and all the social media. You're welcome to come and join us on that, and we do have some prizes which are in front of us here on the table, amongst some other things. So we'll post those links up by the end of the week, and follow along with us for season 8.
Yeah, we're gonna cover each and every episode as they come out.
Yes.
So stay
Yes.
tuned.
Yeah.
Exciting.
What was that?
Real quick, do the predictions of who sits on the throne setter.
Okay.
Okay.
Throne sitter.
Really quick, we're going to talk. Who do you think is going to sit on the throne?
You want to start?
I say Jon Snow. I thought it was gonna be Daenerys,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought Jon Snow was gonna go back up to the north. But I realized now
Right.
that they're a thing, that's not gonna happen anymore.
Right.
He's gonna, and Daenerys will probably die, or something weird will happen to her.
They're
I don't
kinda
know.
like
I'm not 100% sure.
inseparable.
It's gonna be
kind of.
Jon or Daenerys. I'll say it's probably gonna be Jon.
I feel like it's not gonna be any of the main characters for some reason. I feel like it's gonna be someone younger like either like Lyanna Mormont or like
that be nuts?
or Bran Stark.
Right. Green seer on the throne.
I feel like it'll be, I don't know, like I like the idea of a symbolism for a new beginning that has like no bloodshed tainted to it, or like inheriting a future. I don't know. In theory, I like that.
Well, didn't Kit Harington say that all the theories that he
Thought were going to happen
yeah,
were not true.
Not true. Yeah.
Yeah.
He could be throwing us off too.
That's true. He likes
I
to
don't
do
know.
that.
I
Yeah.
want to save mine for last. Go
Okay.
ahead.
I think that this is a weird. My reasoning is weird here, but so if you play World of Warcraft,
Oh my god.
there's an expansion called Wrath of the Lich King. There's a cinematic that is almost one for one of the scenes in Game of Thrones, right?
That's where they got it from.
No, Game of Thrones definitely like ripped
really
it
a
from
World
from
of Warcraft.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, I'm, just kidding.
Oh.
No, I'm saying Game of Thrones is really World of Warcraft.
Oh yeah.
It's twist.
Fan fiction.
There's literally a character called the Lich King that raises people from the dead and creates undead armies.
necromancer.
Well, that's what a Lich
And-
King is.
And
yeah.
rides a dragon. So you know.
Oh, well, great.
So you know, but at the end of Wrath of the Lich King, he gets deposed, and who ends up on the throne, on the frozen throne, is somebody you would never think of.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's so much. Who is this person that you
Gendry?
know? Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Gendry.
So I'm
Yeah.
calling it's going to be something like that. I think it's going to be like Gendry, or it's going to be Howland Reed or something.
Yeah, I want
Something-
the Reeds to sit
yeah,
on the throne,
something
actually.
really weird.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say Mira Reed. I'm gonna say that.
Yeah.
You're a
Alright.
Reed.
Oh, interesting. I was.
I feel so boring next to you guys. I just chose John or Daenerys.
All right.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hodor.
my
Too late.
yeah, just because of base. Okay, if you watch the past episodes, I did
Yeah.
say Jon Snow before because I just wanted to believe that, right? Based on what Kit Harington said and just thinking about it, I really want to believe now. I'm changing my answer to Daenerys actually succeeding in breaking the wheel, and they're going to come up with a democratic system of election.
No one
And
will be on that.
no one's going to be in the
Oh, I
throne,
think
and
that's-
it's
that
not going to
actually
be
might- yeah.
the monarchy will be destroyed, and they're going
Wow.
to come up with a new government.
Oh, snap! ¡Viva la revolución!
And then it's gonna get all corrupt. No.
Parted.
You hear the people sing the songs of angry men.
The song of angry men.
It is a music of a people who will not be slaves again.
I don't
It's World of Warcraft and Les Mis now. That's all it is, dude.
Just
That's
said.
So they're
all
gonna have
World
like
of
a more
Warcraft
like
is.
an oligarchy or something, or like a
No,
like
it's
a full
just a republic.
democracy.
No, a
Yeah.
democracy.
or
Like
a
a
form of
true.
Like a true
it
democracy.
could be a like representative
Yeah,
democracy.
recommend.
yeah.
The knights
Yeah.
or like some of the noblemen will become congressmen.
Are there any
Senators.
So they're gonna be more like wildlings, like everyone's equal. Like
Yeah,
they're
I
gonna
think
kill the feudal
I
society.
think the wildling form of government will
They're gonna
probably
translate down.
it'll
Passed on.
it'll merge into
Inform,
the
right.
monarchy and to create a new government because I could see and because Daenerys, you know, seeing how she doesn't like slavery and
Right.
Tyrion is
yeah.
kind of influencing her.
Yeah.
Jon Snow is influenced by the wildling form of government
Yeah.
and how he hates the traditional monarchy and like how everyone, unless you know something happens to them, but like I think if they succeed, they will create a new government.
So if
I
she
think
like
that's
fully,
idealistic.
yeah, self-actualizes,
I hope
that'll
that
happen.
can happen.
Yeah.
So that's my.
Right.
That would be so cool if that happened.
Oh man.
I think. Do you think
Yeah.
she's gonna die, and then like her people are gonna carry on that, or try to accomplish that?
They
in-
might have
I think-
foreshadowed it
yeah.
in
Right.
season
And if
2.
and let's
Yeah.
say
Yeah.
all the heroes die, like. Oh, I'm saying like if all the heroes die and
Right.
only, or maybe one or two survive, like the lieutenants and the people who follow them will, like you said, follow their theory because they were like, you know what, we're not royal
Right.
birth, so why do we care? Let us
Yeah.
create let's move on to a new form of government or whatever.
I mean, I don't know if that transition will be smooth, though. We
No,
already
no,
seen
yeah.
the U.S. government trying to impose democracy on other countries that have not had a precedent of that happening. So, like,
that's true.
and especially with like the
Like thousands and thousands of years of ruling.
of
and
how
it's
that
the
has
full
not worked.
System. Yeah. I don't know.
But there's still the High Septon, right? Oh wait, no,
No,
they're,
no,
they're
no, no.
destroyed.
Yeah,
Never
the
mind.
sparrow- they're all
They're all
dead. Yeah,
dead.
they're all
They
dead.
all
But-
dead.
You know, I mean, there's so many like different little states, right? There's like
Right.
Dorne. There's like so many.
Well, Dorne
But
has.
Dorne is-
They have.
I
They
think-
have their own princes and princesses,
Right.
You
But-
know, so that's monarchy as
Because
well.
Prince
Yeah.
Dorne's dead.
Well, Prince Dorne's dead, but
well, their whole royal families.
well,
Right.
actually, they're all dead. Yeah,
They're all
dead.
So I don't know who's in charge there right now.
Right.
Because they're all
Yeah.
dead.
no,
Yeah.
the Lannisters are.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They're done.
Wow.
I know. And that's it. But yeah, so that's your answer.
Yes, they will break the wheel and create a new government.
Yeah, but let's not forget about, again, going back to season 2, the vision that Daenerys has in the House of the Undying. She's in Winterfell. It's covered in snow and deserted. Oh, I'm sorry, King's Landing. No.
Oh,
yeah, King's Landing.
Oh
King's
my
Landing,
God,
yeah.
I got chills for
Remember?
a second. I
Yeah.
thought you meant like Winterfell, and I was like, oh my God, did the
No,
promo
it's
that we
trailer.
watched?
Oh, that was the
From that.
promo was Winterfell.
Yeah.
In the vision, it's King's Landing.
It's King's
Landing.
It's filled with snow, and there's no one there.
And
Somebody-
that was the ending of season 7. Was snow falls on
yeah.
King's Landing for the first time.
Oh,
I mean,
right,
it's
right.
just because it means the White Walkers are coming.
It means the White Walkers are coming, and also that winter has begun, which means that summer has ended. The longest summer
Yeah.
that
The
they've
long
had
winter
so
is
far
here.
has ended, meaning they will have the longest winter they will ever
Yeah.
had.
I was reading a
Because the asteroid is moving.
I was reading a
Touche. Yeah.
Touche.
The asteroid is
World of Warcraft is in Armageddon.
and then World War
Bruce
Flame
Willis
is-
comes in with a,
I love you, Harry.
we're gonna have to drill in there.
Deep Impact.
or deep back. Yeah.
I was reading a theory that said the stuff falling from the sky in the vision is not snow but ash.
Ooh, I could see
Snow
that.
and ash have very similar properties.
So it's
though.
from the dragons.
Who knows?
Or
I
just
mean,
everything
it's a possibility.
burning.
Yeah, everything
Y'all,
burning.
I'm getting excited.
Or wildfire,
No.
yeah.
It's-
Stuff burning.
I don't know.
It
I think they're
has
done
to
with the
be
wildfire.
snow.
They're
It-
done with that.
No, it has to be snow because people were shivering, animals were disappearing. It's not. Yeah, it has
It's
to
probably
be snow.
snow. You would
It's
know if
snow.
it's ash.
Right. There's no
well-
fire.
All right, we keep talking.
I know we could talk about this forever,
Yeah.
but we do have a couple of Q&A questions, or maybe we have one. We have one question from the audience, and this comes from CJ is a gamer. What's up, CJ is a gamer?
Hey,
Is he
CJ.
a gamer?
So here's a fun question. What's a piece of media that you love but is no fun to experience? For me, it's Schindler's List. Schindler's List is a masterpiece, but I will not be watching it again anytime soon.
Oh, I actually do feel that way about Schindler's List.
Yeah,
that's
It's
true.
a hard movie to watch.
I know mine.
What's yours, Jen?
Hereditary.
Oh yeah.
I will
That's a
never
good
watch it
one.
again.
Yeah.
It was brilliant. I actually think it's the best horror movie I've ever seen, and for that reason, I will never watch it again. I actually had to walk out of the theater because I had a panic attack for like 5 minutes, and I had to like calm myself down. But I told myself
Wow.
like, this is such a good movie that if you miss out, you'll regret this. So I was like, I'm gonna force myself to go back in. So I went back inside, and my roommate was sitting next to me, and I was like, can I just bury my head in your arm? And she was like, okay. And I was like clutching onto her arm and like closing my ears to try to dim out some of the sounds so I could reduce my stimulus intake. And my heart was still pounding out of my chest. I was so tortured by
Wow.
this movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
I feel that way too about Hereditary.
I need to watch Hereditary.
Yeah.
Apparently it's
Yeah.
for real.
I saw it with some noisy ass kids, and I yelled at them to shut the fuck up. And then one of them threatened to fight me.
Oh, did
and
you kick
then
their ass? Or?
Joe Gunawan was there, and he was like, "Kaitlyn, stop."
You should turn to Joe and be like, why? You're not going to fight for me, Joe?
Oh, bitch.
All right, Joe. Love you.
Okay, so for me,
Yeah,
I
Joe.
think mine is The Revenant. Have you-
Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah,
the
that was
pretty
DiCaprio,
good. I liked
DiCaprio
it.
movie?
You will feel like you've been through 20 mystical journeys and trampled
Right.
underneath the weight of 15 bears.
that bear
Your
scene?
soul is crushed by the end. You're like, I can't go through that again.
That bear scene was
Yeah.
Yeah.
unreal.
The Revenant.
I
Very
love
heavy.
the visuals though, like that
Yeah, sorry.
nature and the goodness. I was reminded of this like Chinese proverb that my parents like told me a while back, but it's basically like people live and move like water around the mountain that never moves. And that's what that movie reminded me of, was that all these nature shots, because there were continuous shots, right?
Yeah.
You see like continuous shots of like people fighting, fucking killing each other, and then nature, beautiful nature, and then people killing each other. And it's like, what remains after this is that nature is going to go on, but men die as a result.
God, I love
that's
That
Yeah.
reminds me of something that Neil deGrasse Tyson said.
Oh, okay.
Everybody's like, "Oh, we have to save the Earth," and he was like, "The Earth is gonna be fine.
You gotta
Exactly.
save people.
Humans, we're
Humans,
screwed.
we're
yeah.
screwed.
Yeah.
True,
Yeah.
true story.
Interesting.
We screw ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally.
Do you have one, Alton?
What?
I have one if you don't.
I can't watch The Hobbit again.
Oh,
But you
that
liked
means 'cause
it?
you don't like it.
oh.
You
No,
you
it's
liked
just
it?
I love the visuals,
But it's so bad.
but
I
the
know what you mean.
story, the rhythm of the story, and then the barrel, the
The
river
barrel.
barrel.
Oh my
right?
God, the
Oh,
GoPro.
man.
When you see that GoPro footage, it's just like, what? Why?
I just can't, man.
It's offensive
Yeah. yeah. I'm actually really
to
offended.
the
yeah.
original
to the eye.
series.
Yeah. yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Offensive, yeah.
The GoPro footage. Did you think we would not see this?
Yeah.
But it's sponsored by GoPro.
Right, I know. Oh my god.
But, yeah.
Mine is. Have you all seen Grave of Fireflies?
Yeah. I did not think of
I
that.
haven't
yeah.
seen of it. I haven't seen it
If
yet.
you want to feel like killing yourself,
Yeah.
watch it. Yeah.
So,
you will want to kill yourself.
It's an anime.
yeah.
um,
from the 80s.
Is it from the 80s? It's way back then.
It's a classic. Yeah.
It covers the story of a brother and a sister post the atomic bomb.
Atomic bars, like
Let's have shots at the atomic bomb.
Post the atomic bomb on Nagasaki, right?
Yeah,
not
yeah,
not
yeah.
Hiroshima. If I'm-
I can't
Nagasaki?
remember which one.
But
yeah.
it just talks about the experiences there, the actual impact of the bomb, the nuclear fallout, the sickness that happens to people afterwards. It's not a happy film. It's beautiful. I would never watch it again.
Wait,
and I own
you're
it.
you're skirting over like the saddest part.
Well,
which is-
Oh, should I spoil it?
I was trying not to spoil
Oh,
it, but
okay.
like,
Oh, don't spoil it.
Never mind.
Oh,
I won't
haven't
say
seen it. But
unless
I
you
also
want
don't
to,
want to
I
be
don't know.
depressed.
Oh,
So
it's well, it is based off of the director's life because
Right.
Oh, wow.
he had a little sister after the bomb who yeah.
died horribly.
Well, the sister died of starvation, so he made this
Oh,
film
no.
Right.
to honor her.
Oh my goodness.
There's a lot of that.
It's commonly
Oh,
listed
God.
on one of the top 10 most depressing
Yeah.
movie lists. It's extremely depressing.
So
It
it doesn't
is.
end happly.
Oh, nowhere close to happy.
No.
Nowhere
The
close to
thing-
happy.
so
thing
just like
about
how I felt after watching the battle race on Hobbit.
Here's the thing: if a movie is just pure sadness from beginning to end,
Right.
you probably won't feel much because you'll just be so numb.
You're just
Right.
sad.
But what what the Japanese love to do
Yeah.
is they bring you on a journey with like laughter
Yeah.
and fun and some
Oh,
happy
look, this is
moments.
good.
And like,
Yeah.
hey, maybe life isn't so bad, and like at least we have each other,
Yeah.
stuff like
And this is,
that.
like, takes-
And then they
punch you in the
just
face.
smash you.
We
in the
don't have
face,
each other.
and then everyone dies, and it's horribly
yeah,
sad.
like
yeah.
that anime, like Say My Name or something
Oh,
like that.
Oh,
Your
yeah,
Name,
yeah.
Your
Your
Name,
Name, Your Name.
I
All
heard
of his stuff is really sad.
Yeah.
Makoto Shinkai. It's like
I saw the beginning of it.
right,
It's
I
a
haven't
good,
seen
it's a
it,
good
but
anime. It's,
I can already tell.
and I think they're gonna
yeah.
do a live
I
action.
do want
of
to.
it.
They are.
Oh, speaking of live action anime,
Oh, I forgot.
Akira is finally continuing production now, and
totally forgot
the
to talk
live
about this.
action
Totally forgot
movie.
to talk about this. Yeah.
Well, we're talking about it now.
All right.
So, like Akira, the anime, very
Akira,
Akira.
Akira.
You can say Akira.
Yeah, Akira.
You can say Akira because
This
in
is how it's
Japanese,
pronounced.
Japanese is Akira.
there's
Akira.
no accents.
It's
My
like Akuma
goodness, we don't
and
need
Gojira.
to like semantics.
Akira.
I mean, so you're speaking about anime.
Anime,
Dracarys.
manga,
Dracarys.
Dracarys.
Akira.
But anyway, so the classic cyberpunk movie Akira, is now being turned into a live action film. It was already like in the works, but then
For
for whatever
years and years and
reason,
Years, yeah. There's so
forever.
many
it kept getting delayed.
Yeah.
But finally now it's being picked up by none other than
Taika Waititi.
Hey.
What
Well,
up?
Yeah, I think. He's the one.
He's
who-
helming it, yeah.
he's helming it.
Yeah.
So, but did they say? I thought it wasn't really confirmed that Warner Brothers has greenlit it. Like it's moving along in the process.
I think, yeah, what they said specifically is that the money has been allocated for it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. But
So-
hasn't.
Yeah, we don't know
Greenlit.
what that means in terms of pre-production. Like, if they have a script or if they have, you know.
And I mean, what do you guys think? Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, did you guys know that on YouTube, there's a couple of cool kids that made a live action trailer of Akira?
Yes.
Yeah,
And it
that's a
looks
cool one.
really,
Awesome.
really badass.
They
Yeah.
did a
Really,
great
really
job.
cool. They like
Looks super
outdid
great.
themselves.
Wow, I wanna
But they
see it.
didn't film the whole thing. They just made like a trailer
Yeah.
and it like looks so real. Yeah, they should have asked those kids to make the movie.
I think, like, if
They're probably adults.
the whole thing that it boils down to for me, I think, is if the creators care about the property, it's going to do well. That's why I think happened with Alita. You know,
They care.
they cared about it. You know, It's
I
not-
also had like James Cameron.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm just skeptical. Yeah, so hopefully it becomes good. We'll see. We'll probably talk about it some more later.
Yeah.
But for the time being, that's the show. Dun, 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 dun.
But
Dun, 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 dun. Oh God, this is the worst medley
It's
ever.
just a medley.
Everybody follow us on all the social platforms: Instagram, Twitch, Facebook.
PanGeekery.
Yeah, PanGeekery. I thought you were pointing. To
I
the
know. I thought it was
TV.
like,
Yeah,
click
no.
on the subscription link below.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah,
up
subscribe right
Subscription
there.
button.
every
Yeah.
Tuesday,
heart
8
up.
p.m. Twitch TV.
But not
/
next
PanGeekery.
week, right?
Not next week.
We
Oh,
will
yeah.
not be here next
Oh
week.
yeah, we will
Yeah.
not be here next week.
We're
we
just
should
bored
have.
of you guys.
I'm so sorry. No, we will have some kind of content for you next week.
Yes.
Just not our regularly scheduled show. So yeah, follow us on there. Thanks everybody. Thanks to the crew. Thank you,
Thanks to
Jimmy
Jimmy
Johns, for being our
Johns.
sponsor. We're fresh and fast meat. That's intriguing.
You guys got to try out.
Fast meat.
Check out the Unwitch. It's delish.
Walter has turned me on the Unwitched bandwagon. I'm like forever on now.
Especially if you're in the keto diet. It's great.
Nice.
But follow me at Early Be Good on these socials.
You can follow me at Jenapher Zheng, spelled weirdly. It's JenapherZheng. That's my real name, I swear.
I'm at Pressfae, PRESSFAE on Instagram.
Yeah. On IG, you can find me as Man of Tales or man_of_tales.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. See
Thank you,
ya sometime
guys.
soon. In 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Bye.
Dos.
Dun, 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 dun.
Do you hear the people singing the songs of angry men?
PanGeekery Podcast, covering all things geek from an all-diverse perspective. Visit us online at www.pangeekery.com. Before we go, I'd like to give a shout out to our crew, Meriden Villanueva behind the scenes, our stage manager Arnold Basingat, and producer Rodney Cajudo. The PanGeekery hosts are me, Earl Baylon, Jenapher Zheng, Kaitlyn Fae, and Walter Talens. Thank you to the Filipino Worker Center in Los Angeles, California for giving us a space to record. Thanks to our sponsors Jimmy Johns, and thank you to Homer Dulu and Peterson Gonzaga for providing production equipment. Finally, thank you, our awesome audience, for tuning in. See you in 2 weeks.